Now, there are some people who would be concerned about traveling to Europe right now, to Wales or wherever it may be. And Professor Raymond Tanter, expert on international affairs and terrorism at Georgetown University, the University of Michigan, and a prolific author with us this morning, and a man in high demand this morning because of this very frightening situation. The U.S. has issued a terror alert for Americans visiting Europe. Now, we're used to, Professor Tanter, seeing alerts for the Middle East and other parts of the country. We're not used to seeing warnings going to Europe, and as I'm told, that warning that is out right now is one step below advising Americans not to go to places like Paris and London and all the other beautiful jewels of Europe. Good morning.
Good morning, Michael Patrick. Let me just make sure that we have the facts straight. This is an alert, not a warning, and because you use the words differently in your setup. And secondly, the State Department did not advise Americans to refrain from traveling to London, Paris, and other sites in Europe. It just said take every precaution to be aware of their surroundings and adopt appropriate safety measures to protect yourself when traveling, Michael Patrick.
That is one step below, as I'm told, issuing an all-out warning advising no travel in Europe the way it is now. But why all of a sudden Europe? And really, how could you protect yourself from, what could you possibly do? I know they say to be extra vigilant, but what exactly does that mean when you're going to have, the possibility of a Mumbai-style attack, which could strike anywhere with no warning?
Well, the first question you asked was a good one. The warnings are issued when long-term protracted conditions make a country dangerous or unstable, lead the State Department to recommend that Americans avoid or consider the risk of travel to that country. The problem is that that statement cannot apply to the whole of Europe, and the alert, Michael Patrick, was listed for the whole of Europe. And the second part of your question, I believe, was why now the chatter has reached a peak in terms of electronic intercepts as well as monitoring internet jihadi sites.
We're told that Osama bin Laden himself might be responsible for this. And what are you hearing specifically in terms of the plans of the terrorists? What are they looking to do a sort of a fan out in a train station or a tourist attraction with machine guns?
We recall that the train station in Madrid was hit, and Spain actually pulled out of the Iraq war as a result of al-Qaeda's threats to do more damage. Barcelona subway was also threatened. And so I think that, you see, the problem, again, very quickly, is that the travel warnings have been issued for places like Nepal and Mexico and Haiti and Sudan, Afghanistan, Iraq, and Yemen, among 31 nations with current State Department travel warnings. So we have to be specific that State Department has not said refrain from going to Europe, Michael Patrick.
And what could you do to protect yourself? They say to be careful and do what you can. I mean, what really could you do?
Well, they said use your common sense, but I don't think that helps too much, does it, Michael Patrick?
I don't know. I take direction well. Tell me specifically what to do.
Well, if you see any kind of packages, for example, you just can't bypass them. So you should take every precaution to be aware of your surroundings. And the problem is that everyone will look a little weird at this point. And you're going to say, well, I saw a weird person on the metro in Paris. Well, there are all kinds of weird people in the metro in Paris carrying strange packages.
And, I guess the people, particularly in the UK, are more used to this sort of thing because of the IRA involvement and that kind of thing. But people who are on a jolly to Paris aren't used to being concerned like that. Business travelers might be a little more savvy. But anyway, it's frightening to hear this sort of thing. And we'll just have to keep our eye on it and pay attention. Meanwhile, I know you're hot-footing it this morning, but Iran's president yesterday called for United States leaders to be, quote, buried in response to what he says are American threats of military attack against Iran's nuclear program. He said that, may the Undertaker bury you, your table, and your body, which has soiled the world. That's pretty strong talk, or is it just the way that Ahmadinejad likes to get attention from time to time?
Ahmadi, Ahmadinejad often gets attention, and he's in a battle with his right wing, if you can call it that, within Iran, in the parliament and the judiciary, to sound off with more rhetorical flourishes than others. So I would discount this one.
Okay. And I know you're going now, but you must be pleased as punch. Any chance you can get to Ann Arbor Saturday for that Michigan State game?
Well, I'll be watching it. I watched every second of the game last Saturday, and we've got quite a team there, but I'm not sure our defense can hold up, Michael Patrick.
Well, we know there's nobody that seems to be able to stop Denard Robinson, but...
yeah, we have an offense, but no defense. Good morning, Michigan.
Thank you very much, Professor Raymond Tanter from Georgetown University, who is in high demand this morning, obviously, because a terror alert in effect for Americans visiting Europe. State Department says that the current information suggests al-Qaeda and affiliated organizations continue to plan terrorist attacks. It reminds American citizens in Europe to be especially vigilant, particularly if you're visiting public places or using public transportation. No specific details outlined in the travel alert, but Western intelligence sources say militants in northwest Pakistan have been plotting coordinated attacks on European cities. And that is certainly frightening enough.